And I know a little bit about your story, but I want to share it with my audience. And I definitely encourage everybody out there to subscribe to Incredible Javier on YouTube. Let's go back to the beginning, man. Where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Monte, California. I was raised by my mother and father. They were, gang members. So multi-generational gang member. My mom's parents were gang members. So that's, growing up, that's what I seen. That's what I wanted to be. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, a lot of people might seem like it was forced, but not at the time. Like, that's what I really thought I wanted to be.
Yeah, your parents are everything to you. So it's like, okay, shit, that's cool.
Yeah, hell yeah. And they would even tell me, like, mijo, go to school and do this and do that, right? But it's kind of difficult when people say one thing, but they don't show you that direction. It's not an excuse, you know what I mean? But it's a little bit more difficult to do that. So for me, it was hard to see outside of my reality. So for me, it's like it was way easier to go to the joint in my mind back then than to go to college. It's a lot easier when you're busted. Of course, there's shit that's gonna come up. You know what I mean? And I never been to the joint or anything like that. You know what I mean? I just went to youth authority and shit. But yeah, it's a lot easier in there because you basically, especially in YA, you ran your own program. I got to do whatever I wanted to do. If I don't want to do something, tell the staff, fuck you, I refuse. I ain't doing shit. And they still got to feed me. You know what I mean? So like I still got to eat. And but out here, nah, you don't want to get up and go to work. You ain't getting paid for that day. Or if you are, you're lucky. I mean, cool. But you can only do that so much. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that you need to do out here. People depend on you. That's even worse. Because your actions could really fall back on them.
Man, ain't that the truth, dog? Now, for everyone outside of California, explain what CYA is.
So CYA is the California Youth Authority. It's basically like if you had over 18 months, they can't keep you in a county facility. A lot of times, also, if you're busted for something like pretty bad, like murder, rape, carjacking, they're not going to keep you in the juvenile county facility. They're going to send you to a state-run program. So it's kind of like the equivalent to a prison for juveniles. It was called the California Youth Authority. And the California Youth Authority had a number of different institutions, and it had some of the worst youth offenders in California. And they put us all together. They put us all together, and it was a recipe for disaster. And by the time I left, there was a 90% recidivism rate. That meant 9 out of 10 people they got out of there went right back.
Damn.
If not there, they went to prison.
Jesus Christ. Now, I'm assuming you were an active gang member entering CYA?
Yes, yeah. I actually got busted for a gang enhancement. So yeah, that's what actually got me sent to the youth authority. I did a few robberies, which was like nothing major, dissuading a witness, which that alone could have got me sent to the youth authority. But what sealed the deal was the gang enhancement. They said I did it for the benefit of a criminal street gang within 1,000 feet of a school area, and that was it. You know? Yeah, that was it.
What year are we talking?
1999.
Yeah, they were locking my up for attacking all kind of shit.
Yeah. They when I went to court, I thought like I never been to camp. Like most of my homies had been to youth camps and probation camps, placements, all that shit, right? So I'm thinking like, hell yeah, that's where I'm going. I'm gonna go to camp. So I thought I was gonna get a year and a half violent offender program. And when I went to court, they told me to take a plea bargain, 2 years in YA. I should have took that shit low key. But my pops was like, nah, you don't need to take that shit. That fool ain't gonna show up. You're gonna beat this shit. You'll probably do a violation and go to camp and you'll be straight. So I was like, all right, and I don't know, that motherfucker showed up.
You're like, damn.
Yeah, he showed up and he brought a friend too. Motherfucker I never seen in my life. Like, damn. So it was a trip. You know what I mean? They had all kinds of evidence against me, and that's one thing that a lot of motherfuckers need to understand is if you're doing illegal shit, keep the camera away. You know what I mean? Because I would have like pictures in my drawer, me and the homies and shit, and my PO would come and just snatch my shit up, and like if I'd write on, like if I was going to school, I'd write on the binder or whatever, EMF, and like they would snatch that shit up too, hats that I had, and when I went to court, all that shit was submitted as evidence.
Damn, see?
Like, yeah. So it was a trip because one thing that that my public defender tried to say was like he didn't do this he did this to get out of jail. He didn't do it for the benefit of a criminal street gang. So she tried to play that card,
Mm-hmm.
and the DA was like, nah, everything he does is for the benefit of a criminal street gang.
They brought
And I
all
was
that
like,
shit out.
Yeah, and that was it. You know, they had cops that they interacted with, fucking everybody. Like, yeah, I was just like, damn, like they really trying to fucking do me in.
And let me talk to these kids out there for a quick second, because this is back in whatever, 99, but I still, to this day, what he was doing with the pictures and stuff is amplified, and these dummies are selling drugs on their Instagram, and they're fucking putting guns in it. Like, I'm like, why are you putting that online? Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know the cops are just sitting up with their feet up on their desk, and they're just following you from a fake account, and they're just collecting all that evidence, and one day you're gonna get caught for a crime. You're gonna try to say that it wasn't gang related, and they're gonna have all these fucking pictures and videos and Snapchats and this chat and that chat of you doing dumb gang shit.
Yep. And me, I wasn't even trying to get caught like that or even put it out there, because we even knew not to burn
different
the
time.
spot. Don't talk to the cops.
Put it in the drawer. Yeah.
Yeah, but even then, like, even that wasn't out of their reach.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and now, motherfuckers need to chill out. I always tell people, like, I don't recommend or condone committing crimes, but if they do, leave the motherfucking phone at home. Don't even take that shit with you.
Come on.
Like, yeah, because they could track that.
Oh, they
shit,
track that shit 100%. All the cell towers and everything, those fake trees that you pass, that they're connected. You go to court, they're connecting all that shit. I wasn't there. Well, your cell phone says you were, motherfucker.
Yeah, but it's always better just to avoid that shit entirely.
So take me back a little bit, man. How old were you when you quote unquote, I guess, jumped off the porch?
You know what? It's kind of a trip, because I was like, when I officially got in, I was 14, but like I was always around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I always had, like, my pops. He was around. I mean, his homies were around. When my pops wanted to join, that's when I kind of flourished. I went on my own, so I got my own crowd, and it was kind of, at first it was a trip, because like, I love my pops, right? May he rest in peace. But fucking I didn't want to be in his shadow.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like they called him Cricket too, and I used to hate that they called me Little Cricket. I was like, man, fuck that. I wanted another name. But even then, homies were like, nah, Charlotte, cool. Like, you got a name already. You know what I mean? You're cool. Like, because everybody else wouldn't. My neighborhood's pretty deep, so you had to fight for names, right?
Okay.
So it's like you can only have so many cats. You know what I mean? Like so
only
you
two
can't,
jokers allowed in one game.
Yeah.
Two joker minimum.
Yeah, and if you see another one, you're gonna have to get them up with them when you see them and shit. So for me, I really didn't have that issue, but there were other homies that, like, they're fighting for names and shit, and they're trying to come up with new names or even trying to establish themselves. They're like, man, you got this shit. Don't even worry about it. You got a name. Like, that's your birthright, right? And I was just like, man, I wanted my own shit, but I try to, make myself be a little different from my pops. So when I went to YA, I was pumped up because my dad never went to YA. So I was like, yeah, I beat him. Like he didn't go to the joint till he's like 25. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm 16. I'm really going to YA. But yeah, I really started when my pops went to prison when I was about 8. So when I was about 9 or 10, I started blazing it, drinking a little bit. So by the time I was 11, 12 years old, I was doing robberies, burglaries, just whatever we could. So that's really when I started, like, engaging in criminal activity and shit.
And then that brought you to YA, which I want to tap into a little bit more. You posted a video. You posted a video called "Hood Hoppers of YA." Can you explain to my audience what a hood hopper is?
Yeah, definitely. So a hood hopper is somebody who they'll start off being from one gang, and next thing you know, they're from another gang entirely. And fucking, it's a trip, like you one thing where before I even got to YA, I experienced that shit. When I was with some cat I knew from the streets. So when we were busted, when we were on the streets, he was from Jimtown, and I knew him, right? So fucking, I was chopping it up. We ended up going to LP. We're going to court. We're all going to Pomona court because he's from Monte. He grew up in Monte, but somehow he's from Jimtown, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're going to Pomona court, and fucking, I end up being in the room with him. So I'm chopping it up like, "What's up, fool? How you been?" And I got my homies across the hall. My boy, Quickly rest in peace, and homie Turtle across the hall. And I'm chopping it up with this phone. I told him, "How's your homie Sparky doing?" He's like, "Oh, he's doing well, but he kind of looks kind of weird, right?" Like, looking at me funny. He's like, "What Sparky you talking about?" I said, Sparky, fool, from your neighborhood, from fucking Jimtown. He's like, oh, yeah, you haven't seen him in a minute, fool. I'm not from Jimtown anymore. I'm like, what's up, fool? Where you from? He's like, I'm from Maravilla. And I was like, hell nah. You know what I mean? So at that time, it was on with Maravilla. So I told the homie across the hall, like, hey, fucking keep through shot, fool. I'm going to get down with this fool. I'm going to fuck this fool up. He's like, what happened? I said, it's Maravilla. And fucking, I ended up getting down with them.
Is this when Maravilla, I guess, wasn't part of the Sureños, right? Is that why it's on?
Yeah.
It's the green light on site type thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So fucking, I got down with them, and that was the first time I really experienced like fools hood hopping, and it was crazy because I knew this cat from the streets. So it's a trip even more because he's from Monte, but he's from a Whittier gang, and then now he's from East LA gang. So that was a trip. So that you see that, right? But when you get to YA, like you'll see fools go to lockup, and when they'll come out from a whole nother barrio. So you'll see fools like they'll have like one neighborhood tattooed on them, and they'll get another neighborhood tattooed over that shit. You'll even see fools that will be one thing and end up being another. So you'll see cats that were like Crips or Bloods end up being Sureños. Cats that were Sureños. There was this cat from Horchentas. He ended up being from Black Pistones. And then you'll just see a gang of shit like that where you'll just see fools hopping. Most of the time though, you'll see cats stick to like where they're from. You like if they're Southsiders, they'll be Southsiders. But every once in a while, you will see cats jump that major jump where they're going to a whole nother organization and shit. That was a trip. But yeah, and everybody always asks me like, what happens to them? How do people deal with them? And YA, it's run your own program really. You do whatever you want to do. So if you got the heart and you ain't letting nobody fuck with you, they ain't gonna tell you shit. But there was other cats that were straight busters, and I mean like punks, you know what I mean? Like straight punks. And fucking they're gonna get rolled on no matter what. So it doesn't matter if they're hood hopping or not, or if they're solid in the same hood. If they're a punk, and that's how cats are gonna treat them.
Now, what's the relationship like in Y and CYA with the blacks?
At first, it was a trip because it depends on where you're at, right? But it's always a power struggle, and it's crazy because there's really nothing even going on in there, like for you to really fight over power. That's the weird shit. So fucking like there's a little bit of dope moving around, but it's crazy, man, because you're really fighting over nothing. So it depends on where you're at. So when I first got to Nellis, I was in Hayes. Hayes Cottage was predominantly, they called them respected black cottage, because there was two different things. If you're South Side or you're Feed Marraza back then. If you're Blood, Crip, Bay Area, you're going to be respected black. And if you're not, then you're just Leva. Either way, a Leva or a case. You know what I mean? Like you ain't shit. Nobody gives a fuck who you are. So fucking, so it's just about who so I went to a predominantly respected black, and actually even predominantly Crip cottage in Hayes. And right there, I had to fight like a motherfucker, because like it don't matter. My neighborhood is deep in there, but it don't matter because they ain't there with me. You know what I mean? They're other spots. So you mean that shit ain't gonna put no fear in nobody's heart. So they're just gonna be like, you mean you think you bad, motherfucker? Let's roll, and you're gonna have to get them up. And it could be over anything, any fucking thing. You fucking change the channel. They be like, hey homie, I was watching that shit. And it's all about how you talk to somebody, right? So like, let's say if you change the channel, I'll be like, hey Dusty, hey, check it out, homie. Like, all due respect, I was watching that, G. Like, you mind changing it back? They'll be like, oh, my bad. Yeah, but they ain't like that, right? They ain't like that. They're like, what the fuck you doing? I was watching that. You know what I mean? And it's like, whoa, what the fuck you think you're talking to, dog?
Yeah, there's a way to say shit.
Yeah, and nobody knows how to say shit in there. They didn't know how to say shit. Like, everybody's kids. Everybody thinks that they're bigger than everybody else. So it's 18 and under in Dallas, right? Yeah. For the most part. So everybody thinks they're the biggest fucking dog on there. So you're gonna have to fight like a motherfucker. So you can catch you're gonna catch it blind, or you're gonna get down right then and there. And the thing about Nellis, what was separated from other spots, is Nellis was active. Like, that shit stayed fucking cracking. So lockup was packed. So if you get down with somebody in the dorm, it's not like you guys are going to lock up to cool off. Like, nah, you're going back to the dorm. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you haven't let it out, you get down with that fool again, and you'll see fools get down like 2 or 3 times before they send them to lockup. And the thing that sucks is like for the staff, is they had to, in order for you to go to lockup, they had to let somebody else out, right? So you have cats in there that are fucking in lockup for jumping people, for fucking riots, people who are doing programs, and they're just like, fuck, who are we gonna let out? Like, we have to let somebody out of here. Yeah. So it depends on like what you do, right? So there'll be times where like I seen fools get down like 3 or 4 times, and what they would have to do, because you have rooms in the dorm, like you have, it's mainly beds, like it's mainly a dorm, but you have like a few rooms for the fools that do, like they're doing well, the homies that are programming and shit. What they would have to do is they'd have to drag them out of their room and put them in the dorm. So that's 4 heads they're taking out of the room and putting in the dorm, so that you two motherfuckers could be separated. And at that time, motherfuckers will start speaking up. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I know you guys got problems. You need to fucking calm the fuck down, because that's just that's costing me my shit now. Like, now I'm out of my room because you motherfuckers don't know how to act. So, yeah, but it's like the relationship between it was constant struggles, right? So when I was in Monroe, it was mainly, like I said, a crib cottage. So they not in Monroe, in Hayes. So they had that shit, right? And I ended up trying to kick off a few riots, and that shit never cracked. I just ended up jumping fools or just doing other stupid shit. And they eventually kicked me out of that cottage, and I ended up going to Monroe, which was like sold up by Firma Raza. That was their cottage. So it was like night and day. You know what I mean? I was tripping out like, damn, like these motherfuckers got it sold up. So yeah, and there it's the same thing. Like you'll see certain black homies that they wouldn't like the way other black individuals are treated, right? For example, there was this cat. I'm not gonna put his name out there because he was like a case and shit. But we'll just say we'll just call him Jenkins, right? This cat Jenkins used to this fool. He was immature. You gotta remember, like, we're kids, right? So he didn't know how to be a hardcore gang member. He was still a little kid, so he acted like a little kid, and it was annoying to the homies. So they would jump him. They ended up jumping him and breaking his arm. Yeah, so they fucking break his arm, and he's on the top bunk. We're going to showers, and he ends up woofing on one of the homies, and I'm getting out the shower at this time, so I have a towel around me, right? And I see something kind of going down. And in Nellis, you can get that one-on-one, though, with other races. Okay. So, yeah, and TS not, but in Nellis you could. So I see him getting into it with the homie Alfalfa from Southside Kings, Tulare County. And fucking, so I'm walking by, and he jumps off, right? He jumps off to his bunk to rush the homie, and he has a cast on his arm. So he's going to hit the homie with the cast, which is a no-no, because that's a weapon. So the homies start jumping him. Whack, 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 whack. They start fucking this fool up. I'm looking like, do they need me? But I'm like, nah, they're cool. They're jumping him, right? It's cool, but he's a case. So a lot of black homies aren't going to jump for him anyway. But I guess the homie Tiny Bird from Hoover was like, man, like, you motherfuckers are just doing this too much. Like, he couldn't sit around and just watch it anymore. You know what I mean? So Tiny Bird from Hoover jumps in. And when he jumps in, it's on now. Like, now I have no choice. Like now it's like, yeah. Now it's like, I can't just be fucking, oh, it's cool. It's a 4-on-2. Like, nah, if it's more than one individual, from the other side that jumps, then it's a riot. Like, you gotta take it that way, right? So fucking, we kick it off. And yeah, like, it was a trip. Like, there will feel like, anywhere you go though, you'll see a few individuals from the other side. No matter if you're Firma Raza, respected black, that are gonna hold their own. Like, they don't give a fuck if you're outnumbered. It's like, who cares? Like, this is what it is. Why it is gangbanging. No matter if you're Firma Raza, respected black, that are gonna hold their own. Like, they don't give a fuck if you're outnumbered. It's like, who cares? Like, this is what it is. Why it is gangbanging.
Damn.
Yeah, so that's why that was in Nellis. In YTS, it was a lot different. YTS is an older cats. So you had cats that have been at the joint already a lot of the time. Well, not a lot of times, but you'll have cats that you have homies that will catch a case in YA, go to the joint, and come back, right? Mm-hmm. So they're more, they have a different stilo, a different style, the way they handle shit. You have cats that have been busted since they were 13 and they're like 20 now. So they already did like 7 years and they ain't getting out to the 25. So fuck it, you have motherfuckers that are just rowdy. And right there in YTS was real fucking racist. That shit was real fucking racist.
Damn.
Like you had fools cracking ears like crazy.
Mm.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? But it's like whenever over there in YTS, it was no one-on-one. So you get down with a homie and you're from you're either a wood or you're black, then it's gonna crack.
Mm.
And the same, I mean, same thing. So you have phase ones right there. They're just like fuck that shit. Their whole fucking purpose in that fucking institution to them was to crack it off. That's all they wanted to do.
Damn.
Yeah, so that I mean, it really depends. Like there were spots where I've been in spots where it was real fucking cool, like nobody's tripping on each other, and I've been in spots where it's real fucking racist, where it's like if I like you come outside, if you see anybody who isn't a Southsider, you taking flight. You know what I mean? Like that's the way it goes. And it's because like everybody on that tier or everybody on that hallway, they cracked ears. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter who they are. They cracked ears already, and once they crack ears, it's on for life.
Damn, dog. BG Knockout did an interview on Vlad TV. I don't know if you're familiar. Where he said that Mexican gangs snitch on enemy gangs, and that it's okay, and that it's something that is not frowned upon. And apparently he got a lot of slack. And the two people I had on my show, the Sureños, OG Sureños, one was from Javier, the other one's a Sureño. They weren't really too excited about what he said. I'm curious to know what your thoughts on that are.
Okay, so my thoughts are like this is what I think. I think that he probably phrased it incorrectly. I'm not sure, like because I was listening to what he said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm not sure if it was him or Dresta that said, I don't know if it's like their function, if that's the way they do it, but I've seen it happen, right?
Oh, okay.
And so he said something along those lines. I'm not defending him. Like I think like you really, if you're gonna say something, you should really watch what you say about before you generalize or stereotype a whole nother race, right? Mm-hmm. And I learned this at YA. Let me tell you, when I was in YA, they would always say, like, there was all kinds of stereotypes, right? All kinds of, like, they would say essays can't fight. And I seen some homies that would fucking put them on anybody, right? And I would always hear, when riots kick off, the blacks are scared, they run. I see motherfuckers that will crack that shit off. You know what I mean? So it's like, anytime you generalize something like that, you're going to get it wrong. So maybe they did see somebody testify against them. I don't think that there's any gang that would sanction that or that would be okay with that. You know, and anybody who talks to any kind of law enforcement, that's a no-go. You know what I mean? So I don't know what his intentions were, but it's definitely not a good look to generalize an entire population or a group of people.
Are you familiar with the Chicago drill scene?
Not too familiar. I've heard of it.
Okay.
I remember there was this little white cat that tried to do drill music and shit.
Oh, Slim Jesus.
Yeah,
I remember that shit.
yeah.
Slim fucking Jesus, and then he admitted that all the guns in the video were props.
Yeah, they were just props. Yeah.
Yeah, perception, man, perception. But rapper recently passed away within the past 3 or 4 months by the name of FBG Duck. One of the more popular Chicago drill artists out there. Drill music is big right now for all my people out there who are not familiar with it. The whole Brooklyn sound and everything you're hearing right now is coming from drill music. Pretty much all the shit you're hearing right now is kind of drill related. But one thing that they do, and this is where I want your opinion, Cricket, one thing that is very popular in that culture is the gangs, the ones who rap, they actually diss the dead homies of their opposition. So they'll say, you know, I'm smoking on such and such. Whenever they're lighting a blunt or a joint or something, they'll say I'm smoking on such and such, and it's usually the name of an enemy who they killed. You know what I'm saying? And that has seeped out into hip hop, and now apparently it's like people in Atlanta do it, people in New York. Like it's just it's the thing now. I would love to know, as somebody, you know, who grew up with hip hop, who is influenced by hip hop, who actually does hip hop. What are your thoughts on that?
On that, it's crazy you bring that up because that's two different things for me. That's YA too.
Damn.
in YA, you shoot at somebody is you disrespect their like. Let's say if you don't like somebody, right? So like, well, it's crazy. Like, we'll get into the whole thing, right? So let's say I'll say, for example, a chair. Like, let's say the chair is somebody, right? I don't like that chair. I'm gonna tell that chair, hey, chair, fuck your dead shit, right? So dead meaning deceased, shit meaning all of it. So his dead family, his dead fucking friends, his dead homies, fucking all his dead shit, right? So when chair sees you, it's on sight. You know what I mean? So fucking yeah, that shit was happening in YA. And even if they were to bring up your homie, so let's say chair has like little chair tattooed on his chest. Rest in peace, little chair. And you'd be like, man, fuck little chair, homie. And fuck you, like that's on sight, right? And that shit's everybody who's down with chair, like all of his homies, all of his cousins who are there, they're gonna have to get down with you because you disrespected them, right? And that's for life. Anyone who comes up. So that's what like some cats got in a lot of trouble because they would shoot at somebody. Thinking this could be them. So like, let's say somebody shoots at somebody from 18th Street, right? They shoot at 18th Street, or let's say an individual from 18th, right? They shoot at him. You're gonna have to get down with all his homies. Now, if that fool has family from other neighborhoods there, you have to get down with his family too because you shot at his shit, right? So, but you could shoot at his homies. You could be F your dead homies or whatever, right? And you're just gonna get down with his homies. But if you fucking shoot at his shit, you're gonna get down with his family too. So yeah, that's something that was real common in YA. And they would bring up names like that. If you had fucking, especially in lockup, you had a lot of wolf cases.
What's that?
What's
a wolf,
wolf case? Wolf case is somebody who's they just talk.
Like
style
wolf
warriors.
ticket. Wolf tickets. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're style warriors, right? Like they think they're all fucking cool because nobody could touch them because they're behind the glass. They're not in the dorm. They ain't gonna go wild like that in the dorm. They're gonna do that shit in lockup where you need a key to get you out.
Yeah, it's like a dog that barks behind the gate, but when you open the gate, it doesn't bark.
Yeah. So, but they'll go crazy and they'll fucking start like making up songs and fucking with your homies' names in it, and they'll do shit like. Damn. I remember that song. Let me tell you, this is no disrespect to the Pyrus, but I'll give you an example of what they did. Right. So there was this cat. He was a Crip. And remember that song, Dilemma from Nelly?
Okay, yes, I do. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, that shit was big at the time. And this fool would say, no matter what I do, I always think of Brazy Roo and even OG Pudding too, because I love killing. And then he would say, you know what I mean?
Damn.
So, like, yeah, like that fool would sing that shit. I'd be like, oh, shit. And if you bob your head to that shit, you're fucking, yeah. So, like, and again, no disrespect to the Pyrus, but that's what he did. You know what I mean? And like that's how foul motherfuckers were. Like he's bringing up their OGs, right? And he's talking shit. So for me to hear that, it's not surprising because that's something that I grew up around. Now for hip hop, I think when it comes to hip hop, you're making money, right? If you're at that level, you're making money, and why not do something positive, right?
Yeah.
Why not try to unite? Like why if you're gonna act like that, keep that shit on the streets. Why you gotta broadcast it, right? If something happens to that cat, he ends up disappearing with somebody, then they're gonna blame you. Not only the motherfucking his homies, the cops.
Yeah.
Right. So why advertise and put yourself out there like fuck it and bring all that heat towards you? Like there was one thing I knew as a kid is don't burn the spot. You know what I mean? And I always knew too. Here's another thing. If somebody's looking for you, you find them, right? And you don't let nobody know that you're looking for them, right? So they'll know I'm looking for them when I find them. You know what I mean? And I just think it's kind of ass backwards to do some shit like that because hip hop is supposed to be a way out of that lifestyle. So why you even doing that? Like if you're gonna be a gangbanger, be a gangbanger. Ain't no need to broadcast that shit.
Yeah. On some Tekashi 6ix9ine shit.
Yeah. See, look what happens to this cat. You know what I mean? Like this fool went to snitching on all his boys, and then now he's I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's like you can't do. I don't know. What do you choose what you want to do? You know what I mean? He could have just been a hip hop star. He could just left that shit alone, but he wanted to be a real gangster.
He wanted to. We recently lost New York Crip rapper Pop Smoke out here in L.A. He was out here partying in the Hollywood Hills, $5 million home, and probably thought he was super safe, but for lack of better words, he got caught slipping. My question for you, Cricket, is how do you think rappers with gang ties should move when they're performing state to state, city to city, where, especially in a place like LA where there's gang ties everywhere?
Well, you know what? Who moves pretty well is somebody like Ice Cube, right? Ice Cube does what he does and gets the fuck on. I think a lot of cats, they need to understand when you're doing a show, this is a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So treat it like a job. When you're done, there ain't no need to stick around like that. Like if you're gonna party, you're rich enough to grab a hotel, get some girls, hit the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to be out on the streets, you're gonna. Homies, older homies used to tell me, little homie, you don't need to be out here. Nothing good happens at 2 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like these cats, I don't know if they weren't raised like that or what, but if they're trying to get money, like, and I don't even know what the situation is with that individual. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, like you said, if you out there partying in someone's hood, man, that's gonna be a trophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I got homie, I jacked this fool, I blasted him or whatever, right? Like fucking. So when you're in the slums and you're in the ghetto, you ain't impressed by somebody's chain. You ain't impressed by the clout they have. You want that shit.
Mm.
So you know what I mean? So it's like, don't come over here where we're starving, flossing your fucking chain. You know what I mean?
Mm.
If you do that shit, what's gonna happen? Like you ain't gonna come floss on us, homie. We're gonna take that shit. And so I don't know if that's the situation with him, but I just think if you're a hip hop artist and you love doing that shit and you're doing that shit to get out, treat it like a job. Do what you got to do and get the fuck out of there. Because if you're making money like that, you could party anywhere. Why you need to party in the hood?
Exactly. Yeah, man. Do your thing. I say do your thing and get the fuck on, and just keep it pushing. I wanna lay something on you before I give you a chance to promote whatever you have going on, and to promote your channel and anything else. You know what I'm saying?
I
That's
appreciate
cracking
it.
with you. My question for you, man, if you could talk to you, not now at this age, could talk to an 8-year-old you, what would you tell him?
I would tell, you know what, my wife brought this up to me the other day. We had a little thing going on with a quick Q&A, right? And she said that, he has a really big heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've always felt like, I've never felt like I did. I always try to hide it. But, I've always tried to look out for people, right? I always try to do that kind of shit. So I would tell myself at 8 years old, look, man, you're not a tough guy, right? You have a big heart. Use your heart. Because there's other ways. My whole thing was when I was a kid, I wanted to get known. I wanted to be known in the neighborhood. I wanted to be known in Monte. I wanted that my legacy to live past me. And I could tell myself, you can do that without hitting the streets. You could do that without victimizing people. You could do that without hurting people. Because by the time I realized I was hurting people, it was too late. I had already become desensitized to violence. You know what I mean? So fucking that's what I would tell myself. Like, you're not a tough guy, dog. Chill the fuck out. Like, for real. What you need to do is use your heart, use your brain, and find a way to impact life for the better for people out here. Don't keep everybody trapped in this motherfucker.
And that's exactly what you're doing with your channel. I'm peeping your game, dog. You're definitely going to impact some lives. I
appreciate that, yeah.
I please ask you to stay consistent, man. I see you doing big things. You tell a great fucking story. Like, I don't even want to talk when you're talking, dog. I just let you do your thing. I like that. Keep doing your thing. Release 1, 2, 3 videos a day, and just keep pushing it, because you're changing lives. You probably don't even know it, but you've probably already changed a few lives.
I appreciate that, man.
Tell everybody where they can find your channel, man.
You can find me at Incredible Javier, and on YouTube at Incredible Javier. You can also follow me on Instagram at Incredible Javier. And just to give people a little bit of a game on the channel, what it is, I predominantly deal with youth offenders. So I'll interview people that were in the youth authority or went to prison in their teens, and just to show how that life has impacted them. But I don't try to just interview anyone, right? I want to interview people. You'll look at all the videos, you'll see there's a common theme at the end. they've all been out of prison for at least a year. They're all working at bettering their life. Because I want to show people, like, yeah, this was a fucked up lifestyle. There was a lot of bad that came with it. But down the line, everybody wanted to correct that shit. So that's what I predominantly deal with. I've also interviewed a lawyer. I've interviewed a psychologist. I've interviewed a former staff member, activist, a person who just ran for city council. He unfortunately didn't make it. Just different kind of people, right? But fitness trainers, So that's what my channel is. So you can find me on YouTube/Incredible Javier. And yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, that's dope, man. And shout out to your wife. It sounds like you have a down ride or die chick who stuck with you through thick and thin.
Oh yes, sir. Yeah. She's one of the reasons why I kept growing. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to leave the city. When she told me we gotta get our kids out of here, this environment is just too much for them. Like for me, I could live comfortably in my neighborhood and just chill, right? I'm good. But I don't want my kids to live comfortably there. Yeah. Because if they get too comfortable, then you know
what happens after that.
Yeah,
man. Well, dude, it's been a pleasure, homeboy. I really hope to have you on again, and maybe we can cross-promote and I jump on your show sometime or something like that. I would love to just keep this relationship going and keep in touch, man.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you to all the listeners. Thank you, Dusty, man. You guys have a good night.
Yes, sir. You too, homie. Peace.
Peace.